The iPhone, possibly the most iconic product in the entire tech realm for many years now. Of course, it's warranted. This is a device that sells millions and millions of units and influences the entire industry. Of course, I remember back to the original iPhone, the keynote, with the touch screen and the pinch to zoom. It was all so exciting at the time. It was unheard of, to be honest. The idea of a computer in your pocket, that we would all have one and own one, and apps and so on. Now, over the years, we've seen so many different versions, so many improvements, and maybe most importantly, we've seen a marketplace that has developed alongside the iPhone. Of course, I'm speaking about Android and Samsung and all these other amazing devices that exist now post iPhone 1. And right now, we ready ourselves for the latest incarnation of the iPhone, this device that many of us are referring to as the iPhone 8, even though it might not even be called that. We've seen leaks, we've seen rumors, we've seen mock-ups and models. But today's video is not about that next iPhone. In fact, it's about something far more crazy. It's about a dream iPhone. It's about a dream in general. So over the years, I've made thousands of videos on all kinds of different tech, and you probably realize by this point that myself, I'm a tech enthusiast. And so when Concept Creator got in touch with me and said, hey, what if I gave you the opportunity to make all the design decisions on a potential iPhone, on a dream iPhone, on what the iPhone might look like if you were the lead designer? All right, now obviously I don't have the design chops for that, but I could at least give him a little bit of direction, tell him, some of the features and functions, some of the things that I've seen on other devices over the years that I've liked. From there, Concept Creator, he ran with it, started sending me screenshots and initial renders. Here's how it can look if you want it to be like that. Oh, here's how this feature might go, and so on. And so from there, the project began. The dream iPhone, the ultimate iPhone, my iPhone, the way I would make it, represented by the most beautiful three-dimensional renders created by Concept Creator himself. So today's video is a culmination of that process, of that collaboration between myself and Concept Creator, and that's where this beautiful device that you're seeing here through these three-dimensional renders, that's where it came from. Now, the first thing you'll probably notice on this iPhone is a triple lens design, because why not? It's the dream iPhone. I happen to have a background in video making, so I'm incredibly familiar with the idea of different focal ranges represented by different lenses. Why should we stop at a standard lens and a zoom lens? Let's add a very important wide-angle lens, much like the one you're watching me on in this video. It gives you this incredible aspect, the ability to include more into your photo. So now, when you're traveling and you want to capture a landscape or some architecture, you've got more to work with. You've got a more vast representation of what it might have felt like to be in that environment. Oh, you want to fit extra people in the frame for that photograph? No problem. Flip over to the wide angle. Standard, zoom, and wide angle. It's on the dream iPhone. After looking at hundreds of phones since starting this job here, one of the standout features that I've noticed and always wanted to exist on every device that I looked at was stereo speakers, front-facing stereo speakers. Now, of course, HTC models have featured this, but up until now, there hasn't been an iPhone that delivered on this potential. So on this device, with this design, we have managed to cram in two stereo speakers forward-facing. No more muffling of the sound, no more reflection off the palm of your hand, just crystal clear audio coming straight at your eardrums. Now, another thing you're going to notice is this angular design. Many phones and phone manufacturers have moved to a more curvaceous kind of device. But unfortunately, that type of design leads to a more slippery phone, something that you can't quite grip as confidently. With this design here, I went back to a more angular device, kind of similar to the iPhone 5 or SE, where you can feel that chamfered edge, that little bit of bite that it gives to the palm of your hand, so you can hold on to it and not wonder if it's gonna slip out. I'm sick of slippery phones. Now, of course, we're going to pick the ever popular 5.8-inch display size. This, of course, is the display size on the new Samsung Galaxy S8, which I've been using. I think it's right in that realm. With the correct screen-to-body ratio, you get the best of multimedia without giving up too much for manageability and single-handed functionality. Now, of course, my dream iPhone has to have decent battery life, so we tried to cram that in there into an incredibly slender design, 3,000 milliamp hours of juice. Not bad. Now, also, it's gotta have wireless charging. Of course, we've heard the rumors that the next version of iPhone will in fact feature wireless charging, finally. I've been a fan of wireless charging for many years. Every time I have a device that supports it, I outfit my entire space in wireless chargers. The next iPhone will have it. My dream iPhone has to have it. Now, the next choice is a little bit more controversial, and that is the choice of including USB Type-C, saying goodbye to the idea of the Lightning port. No more proprietary connector, but one that's supported across the board with all the benefits supplied by USB Type-C, transfer speeds and quick charging and so on. One cable that I can use on all of my devices, cross-platform or otherwise. Whether it's the new MacBook or the new iPhone, my dream iPhone, I want USB Type-C. Now, one of the features that everyone is wondering about, talking about, and so on is how, in a world with these incredible screen-to-body ratios, how do we use our fingerprints to unlock our devices? Now, as you know, for the most part, the back of the device has become the de facto standard location for a fingerprint reader. That said, it doesn't really seem like that's going to fit in to the Apple design aesthetic. So for this dream phone, we're going to give you what everyone wants. And that is, of course, the fingerprint sensor underneath the display. Now, of course, this is an incredibly difficult thing to implement, and it's one of the reasons it might not happen in the upcoming iPhone. This is tough stuff to be able to develop, especially when you're expected to produce these millions and millions of units. But it's a dream iPhone, so I want it. It's a cool new feature, and I can't wait to see it. Now, another feature that I've seen on other devices and always wanted on an iPhone is the combination SIM card microSD card tray. So we can have expandable storage. You're not stuck with the storage that you buy on day one, but now you can stick inexpensive, expandable microSD media into your device. This is simple. I mean, all it takes is a slight redesign of the tray, and the one that we designed here is actually two-sided, so it can remain very thin. And just like that, you're not locked in to one storage method. Now, as an iPhone user, you can enjoy a feature that's existed on other phones for a long time. Now, of course, the Galaxy S8 can't be the only device that supports Bluetooth 5.0. Since this is my dream iPhone, it's gotta have it. And of course, I'd love to pair it up to a couple of DVLA Phantoms. In case you haven't seen that video before, that's probably my favorite Bluetooth speaker. Now, the last feature that I'd like to see in my dream iPhone is actually a really small one. It's more of a tweak, to be honest. I'd like to see some texture on the buttons. Not all the buttons, but one of the two volume buttons. And this is just because often I reach down into my pocket, I go to turn it up or down, and I waste an extra second. I just like the confidence of knowing which button I'm touching. Now, this has existed on power buttons, for example, on other devices where the volume rocker and the power switch are on the same side of the phone. It could be on a volume button, it could be on a power button. The main thing here is to differentiate the buttons through a little bit of texture. I first experienced this concept on a Motorola device, I think, and from that moment forward, I fell in love. I'm like, of course, the buttons should not all be identical. I should be able to distinguish without looking. Why not? It's my dream iPhone. I get to do what I want. Now, of course, there's a lot more that goes into designing and manufacturing a phone than me sitting down with a wish list and passing that off to an incredibly talented guy like Concept Creator. No, there's all kinds of considerations that come into play. Can we do this? How much will it cost? Will people be willing to pay for those features? And so on. Will our profit margins be great enough? But that's the beauty of this exercise. It's a dream iPhone. You can do whatever you want. You can put whichever features you would like into the device. So how could I not participate? Now, the next question goes to you. What would your dream phone look like? It doesn't need to be an iPhone. It could run Android. I want to see your specs. What is the perfect screen size? How big of a battery? What are you willing to give up in order to get some of the things that you want? put your dream iPhone down in the description, and who knows, one day it might exist. Now, before I take off, I want to give a huge shout out to Concept Creator. Him and I have been going back and forth on Twitter in order to make this video a reality, and honestly, this video wouldn't have happened without him. So if you're unfamiliar with his stuff, head over to his channel, subscribe, and check it out. So I had a lot of fun making this video. It was a nice little change of pace to think creatively about a dream product. In this case, in a very specific category, but I can imagine others. So if you enjoyed this concept, make sure to leave a thumbs up down below, and who knows, maybe I'll do another one.